The first Old Firm of the season. So many storylines. We could do a brilliant, wide-ranging, hour-long build-up to this. Instead, Ian Dennis, we've got 5 minutes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Steve. To be fair, you could have had a good 2-hour build-up and still not probably discussed everything that needs to be discussed ahead of this game, with both sides coming into it, of course, after poor results in Europe. And there's so much riding on it as well, with the Rangers manager, in particular Russell Martin, under severe pressure. But as for the team news, well, for Rangers, it is interesting. He's made 5 changes from that humiliating defeat in Belgium. It means that there is a debut for Miovski, there is a return for James Tavernier, but tellingly, there is no place in the team, or indeed the squad, for Nico Raskin, the key midfielder, who was so important to Rangers last season. So Butland is in goal. It's a back four of Tavernier, Suter, Giga and Jayden Magoma. You've then got Diamandi and Barron in the midfield, with Asgard, Mikey Moore, Miovski and Gassama. As for Celtic, they also give a debut, and that is to Michel-Ange Balikwisha, a Belgian winger who they've signed from Royal Antwerp, and also Engels comes into their side. So they line up with Schmeichel in goal, a back four of Ralston, Scales, Carter-Vickers and Tierney, Hatate, McGregor, Engels, Nygren, Balikwisha and Dazen Maeda.
It's a great piece on the BBC Sport website, which you've got time to scan read if you want before kick-off, from our chief sports writer in Scotland, Tom English. More a meeting of the infirm than a battle of the old firm. They arrive almost apologetically to their biggest domestic game of the season, the bun fight at the not OK corral of Ibrox, which, Pat Nevin, is a poetic way of saying they both desperately need this today.
Yeah, and a very polite way of saying they were both rubbish. We're playing in the Champions League qualifiers. They both had an absolute nightmare.
Fans would agree with that as well.
Yeah, it's not me. I just basically truth, and everyone agreed with it. And even the managers and the players agreed with it well. So they're all come into a slight negative. But you wouldn't believe it if you watched the Celtic fans over to my left there. And there's a few more of them than there have been in recent years. So they're kind of been singing for about an hour here. However, the Rangers fans have wakened up, and as you can probably just hear me over the noise, a lot of people are saying maybe this wouldn't sell out. To quote Roddy Forsyth, "Aye, right." The place is absolutely mobbed. There's a huge tifo from the Rangers fans over there saying Rangers make Glasgow. Well, they want to make it today, because if Rangers go down, the noises you hear today are going to be very, very sullen and very, very dark. Brilliant story, and to be honest, it kind of doesn't matter, because at the start of this game, it just always feels the same, and it's buzzing.
They're obviously united in frustration at the moment, but Celtic's frustration is about recruitment and the board. For Rangers fans, it is all about the new manager, and Russell Martin is already under immense pressure, isn't he?
There's no doubt about that. I mean, if you're Rangers, a couple of defeats in a row, it's definitely a disaster. Have a look at it just now. They're out of the Champions League and 9-1. I mean, it's horrifying. And it's not against, Juventus. It's not against Manchester City or Liverpool or whatever. Bruges. So that hurts a lot. They've also drawn 3 games out of 3 in the SPFL as well, which is unthinkable at the start of the season, especially when Celtic have won all their 3, although not convincingly all the time as well. So you're right, the pressure's on them already, although coming from the club, and I think Deno's got a couple of words about that as well here, they're saying they're backing him, Deno.
Yeah, he's basically what it is, Steve, is that the owner and the chairman for Andrew Kavanagh went into the training ground yesterday, and Russell Martin says he spoke to the players about this is a process and a plan. We deemed it the right one 90 days ago with bringing some players in, bringing the management team in and the leadership team in. So it's up to you guys, he's addressing the fans, to ignore the noise in the same way that they're going to. We'll do everything we possibly can to win today and just keep winning moving forward. He's also been talking about the absence of Nico Raskin, and he's dodged the question as to whether the Belgian has played his last game for the club.
Right, nobody needs any more from me, Ian. All yours.
Well, the atmosphere for these Old Firm encounters speaks for itself. And it's great. I mean, last May was the first time since 2019 that there was a significant of Celtic supporters significant number back at Ibrox, and then once again we've got the 2,000 of them tucked away in that far side as we're underway, and the roar will tell you that. Rangers in their royal blue shirts and white shorts are attacking the Broomloan Road stand, end of the ground away towards our left, and Celtic in the white and green hoops are playing from left to right. Giving you the two teams already, and let's just see how the game settles down, because normally, Pat Nevin, as you know oh so well, they are frenetic affairs. They are always at the start of the game, and it often carries it a long way. Kieran Tierney's already pushing, and it was opposite number there. Balikwisha, who's just starting his first game, just arrived. Welcome to Glasgow. Yeah. Welcome to Scottish football. The noise will be absolutely blasting through his ears, and of course Miofsky as well, just in the door for Rangers, and he's already shown that he's up for it, because he's been challenging Scales already. But every single player out in that field just now, he will be, every ounce of adrenaline in that body will be coursing at the moment. Miofsky did well when he was at Aberdeen. 44 goals in 98 appearances. They've just signed him of Rangers from Girona. It was a less successful spell in Catalonia, but 7 goals in 16 for Aberdeen against the Old Firm. And as for Balikwisha, he signed from Royal Antwerp, 4 appearances this season. They were awaiting clearance, that obviously has come through, and he's thrown in right at the deep end as one of the 2 changes for Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel knocks it out towards Carter Vickers. But as Steve was saying in the very short build-up to this game, there are so many subplots, but the one that is overriding is the future of Russell Martin. It has to be. You can't have as difficult a start as he's had without thinking that. And certainly many of the Rangers fans have no great belief in him. But if he wins the game today and his team performs with some spirit and a little bit more fight than he showed of late, then there may be a little bit of breathing space for him. He needs some. Miofsky gives chase and barges into the back of Ralston. And on the follow-through, as he loses his footings, he slides over the back of Ralston and gets a bump on the back of the head. But the Rangers fans will love that type of endeavour, because they've had goal scorers in the past, but they haven't had prolific goal scorers. It's been a long time for someone that's prolific goal scorers in the major games, the ones that really, really count. And a lot of times you're going to see Rangers the last number of years in the games against Celtic that mattered. They've had players that can score goals, they've just not got the ball to them often enough and good enough chances, whereas Celtic haven't generally struggled to make chances against Rangers. And Miofsky will need that, and they're really showing a real willingness early on in this game. You need to give them some opportunities. That's Pat Nevin. This is the Old Firm. It's live on BBC Radio 5 Live on a busy day of live football. And we're also available through the BBC Sounds app, because Brighton, Manchester City at 2, to be followed by Liverpool against Arsenal at 4:30. Scales at the back, forward to Hatate. Looks to get away from Conor Barron in the midfield, and they give the ball away. Tavernier, who hasn't been a regular so far, but he has at least made a return. He's been a key player in the past, of course, for Rangers. Asgard wins the ball on the right corner of the area. But cleared away by Tierney, quickly charged down. And that's the type of frenetic period of play that we get. There is no time on the ball before you quickly close down and press. Well, no surprise there that Kieran Tierney's going on for a couple of really tough tackles already. He knows what this is all about. Intriguing to see Asgard doing the same. Not always been seeing that this season from him, but he's putting himself about out there, and I think the Rangers fans will love that. Suter goes back to Jack Butland, who actually kept the scoreline down, didn't he? I mean, he's had a very good season despite the troubles that Rangers may have had in Europe. I mean, it was incredible, and particularly the game in Bruges there. I mean, he probably was Rangers' best player and they lost 6-0. This tells you something. Balikwisha inside towards Hatate, slides it forward. Nygren was there, coming in, making a run off the right. But Rangers bring the ball away. He comes out towards Mikey Moore on this near side. Mikey Moore has got Diamande making the run ahead of him. Carter Vickers comes across, deals with it. Last touch, I think, came off the Rangers player. Mikey Moore, incidentally, who's on loan from Tottenham Hotspur, the youngest Old Firm starter at 18 years and 20 days since Danny Wilson some 15 years ago. Mikey Moore, only his 4th appearance for Rangers. They think a lot of him down in North London. as it's headed forward by Suter. Miofsky, his header towards Gassama. Asgard plays it back. This is Barron in the midfield. Tavernier. Rangers keep the ball away from the Celtic press. Suter. Maeda putting pressure on Giga. Comes off the head of McGregor. It is a lot of fast pace in the midfield at the moment, and Tavernier passes the ball all the way back towards Butland, all in orange away towards our right, and clears it away downfield. Barron brings it under control. Got his shoulder just tugged there, goes to ground, gets a free kick. Pat.
Do you know what? You often at this point in the game, 5 minutes in any football game, you can start seeing the rhythm, you can start seeing the style, you can start seeing which teams will want to play in which way. Nope, not happening yet. It's just mayhem. It's just they're flying out at each other. There's tackles flying in everywhere. You know, the referees get a tough job anyway in most games when Rangers are playing Celtic. However, eventually he's going to try and slow it down. Someone's going to try and get their foot in the ball. It absolutely has not had an opportunity to happen yet.
Magoma on loan from Brentford. I mean, Russell Martin, during his 87 days in charge, has brought in about 11 or 12 players. So he's certainly been backed in that respect. Celtic, well, they have been looking to try and bring in fresh blood. Miofsky makes the run in behind Scales. Does he go to ground? The referee says no. Inside the penalty area on that far side, the right. VAR, of course, will naturally have a look at that. Was it a coming together, or was Scales clumsy?
Shoulder to shoulder. It looked very much shoulder to shoulder. Huge call off the referee. Scales was behind. Miofsky had made a brilliant run, showing his pace, which will frighten that Celtic back line. However, he will have a little bit of a go, and referee's pointing to his shoulder, saying this is what it was shoulder to shoulder. And Scales taking a chance there. It was definitely inside the box, there's no doubt about that. But you're right, they will be checking it. He's pointed to his shoulder again. I think it's pretty clear what he's saying there. You know, both players going for the ball. Scales will say he's just a little bit stronger, whereas Miofsky will say he shoved me over.
Don Robertson, the referee, Andrew Dallas, the VAR, and play is going to resume. So VAR have had a look, and they've stuck with the referee's decision, and the same verdict as that of Pat Nevin, as Tavernier with a throw, and it's a long one in from that right hand side, and Scales climbs high to head it away. Maeda can't control the ball on the edge of the area, and Balikrisha will clear the ball away for Celtic. As another Rangers throw on the right. They play from right to left.
Do you know, it's worth underlining though, Miofsky was ahead of Scales, so Scales is shoving him slightly from the back. So it's one of those ones, had the referee decided penalty, I'm not convinced they would have overturned it. So it's that tight, it was that close.
Another throw, it'll be another long one. Great noise inside Ibrox this Sunday afternoon on BBC Radio 5 Live. Giga has come forward from the back. Tavernier only going in one direction. It's long into the penalty area. Giga gets his head onto it, but actually heads it out of the box. And then on the stretch was Barron, and he apologises for that because there was no way that Mikey Moore was going to keep that ball in play on this near side, and Ralston will take the throw for Celtic, and we remain 0-0 8 minutes in. Down the line he goes. McHoma's forward ball comes back towards Ralston, the Scottish international, now with Carter Vickers. The ball back towards Schmeichel, I thought might have been cut off by Miofsky. Schmeichel has to go short and square in his penalty area towards Scales, runs forward along the ground, cut out though by Diamandi. He read that one, wins the ball for Rangers in the sunshine under the clear blue skies, and wins a throw for Rangers, and Rangers have possibly settled the better.
Yes, no, absolutely, completely agree with you. I mean, they've showed a bit of fight there. They're getting about the pitch. There's a bit of bravery about them. They had to stand up today at home in front of their fans, and showing that they've not done a number of times this season. However, their manager will be delighted about.
Russell Martin watching on. Throw about 10-12 yards up from the corner flag. Tavernier on the right. It's a flat throw coming in on this occasion, headed up and then headed behind by Hurtado. Corner kick will quickly nick to the Rugby Union Women's World Cup. Sarah Mulkerrins.
Ireland 7, Spain 0. A great kick into space from fly half Dana O'Brien to set up a phase of attack on the 5 metre line. O'Brien then the one to find a way over the line, and she kicked the conversion. Ireland 7, Spain 0.
Thanks, Sarah. Commentary of that is on Sports Extra, to be followed on Sports Extra by the Dutch Grand Prix at around 5-2. So, corner kick for Rangers, 0-0. We're in the 10th minute. BBC Radio 5 Live. Far side the right. A lot of activity. It's an outswinger. Headed away at the near post by Maeda for Celtic. It'll go out towards Barron, controls it, couple of touches, sends over a cross. Miofsky was there, beaten in the air too by Scales, who manages to get the header away from danger, out for a Rangers throw on the near side, the left.
Yep, brilliant ball in there. It arrives about 4 yards out from Kasper Schmeichel's goal. And one very noticeable thing about Schmeichel, lots of good things about his play as a goalkeeper. He's not a commanding one in his box from crosses, you know, and that's a ball there that most goalkeepers will come and try and collect. He doesn't like it. He lets his centre backs deal with that.
Taverniera's come across now with a throw. It's a long looping one on this occasion. And again, it came off another Celtic head. It might have been Scales. So this is serious pressure from Rangers. Celtic at the moment keeping them at bay and protecting Schmeichel. Another corner, a third one. This time it's back on the right.
Yeah, but every ball's been put in that 6-yard line. They know that Kasper's not going to come out much. He doesn't want to come and catch it or really punch it that much. So they're putting it in top of him as much as possible.
The out-swinging corner from the right-hand side. In it comes now, again off the head of Scales, into the penalty area, bouncing ball. Ralston beaten to it by Miofsky for Rangers. Miofsky, the North Macedonian international, passes the ball back. Giga almost intercepted by Maeda, and McHomer in the end has to go all the way back towards Jack Butland. Plays it first time out from the edge of his area. This is Barron, who now with a switch of play. This is Gassama, able to turn. McGregor comes in, slides, wins the ball for Celtic. Tierney now. It's fast-paced, as you'd expect for these type of derby affairs here in Glasgow. 0-0.
Yeah, but the man you expect to slow it down a bit. Callum McGregor did slow it down a bit and then passes the ball straight out of play, which is so unlike him. Far too much on that. Ralston couldn't get to it, but you could see what Callum McGregor's tried to do. He understands his team are under the caution a little bit now, so he slows it down when it comes to him. But really unlike him to give the ball away, so everyone's been affected by the atmosphere here.
I know it's always important to get the first goal in any game, but when I give you this statistic, you'll realise the significance with the Old Firm. 5 times in the last 108 league meetings when the team has scored first has lost between these two.
On top of that, the Rangers fans, you know it can be fickle at this moment in time, and if this crowd turns on Rangers if they lose a goal, it will be horrible for the players.
Yeah, and in particular the manager, Russell Martin. Maeda nicks it away from Suter. Giga comes across. He almost took the head off Brendan Rodgers there with the clearance. Rodgers had to take evasive action and duck rather quickly.
Yep, Giga has to be really concentrated again. He's against Maeda, who is lightning fast, will never stop running. And if anyone who saw the first game in the Champions League game against Bruges, the mistake that Giga made is one of those cringing mistakes that you almost think couldn't happen from a pro footballer.
Moore coming forward. Yeah, it was an absolute gift, wasn't it, for them at Bruges. The damage really in that two-legged affair was done in that first half here at Ibrox.
I'd say first 15 minutes,
yeah.
Maybe even less than that. They were 3 down, and Bruges just took the foot off the gas. They ended up 3-1, but it could have been anything. It was behind the sofa stuff.
Maeda hooks it away from Suter. He's midway through the Celtic half, forced Hatate to slide into the challenge. Tierney helped him out. Out it goes to that far side, the left for Balikwisha, the debutant for Celtic. Tierney obviously gets forward, but tracking back with him was Barron. Rangers have made the 5 changes, and I would suggest that at the opening 14 minutes Russell Martin has got the levels of endeavour that you'd expect from any side.
Yeah, I mean they are the home side and it helps a little bit, but I mean how difficult a time they've had. Even in domestic games it hasn't looked good at all. But that spirit and that fight that he's... Oh, Giga just gets away with it. And by the way, almost caught in his own box there, Giga. But you got to say it's Buckland's mistake there. Should never be passing to him there. And he's got his hand up apologising.
And Pat's just giving you a flavour about if Rangers were to concede, what the atmosphere would be like. You could hear the hoots of derision when they almost gave away possession. This is Ralston for Celtic on the edge of the Rangers box. Carter Vickers. Every outfield player is in the Rangers half away towards our right. This is Hatate coming forward. Closed down. Challenge from Asgard. They try and play it forward. Barron with the interception. Gassama can't really get into the game at the moment. Scales comes forward. Picked up now by Balikwisha on that far side. It's a breezy but bright afternoon in Glasgow. It is 0-0. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, a quarter of an hour played. We're also live on the BBC Sounds app.
Well, usually you talk about Balikwisha can't get into the game just now. Wide players who want to get a little bit of time in the ball. This is almost nightmarish stuff for that sort of player, because you want a bit of space, you want a one-on-one. You ain't getting that today. Well, it's not so far. You need to make sure that you do the work and also keep going until someone tires a little bit of space develops and you make good use of it. And that's the same for the Rangers wide players too.
It is worth pointing out as well that Rangers actually haven't lost in the league this season. They've drawn all 3 games, but when you consider the level of opposition, and that is no disrespect to Motherwell, Dundee or St Mirren, they are the teams that Rangers fans expect Rangers to win. That's the level of scrutiny that they're under.
There are only 2 positions if you're Celtic or Rangers. There's first and worst. Doesn't matter where you are. And at the moment, Rangers they're in the bottom half of the league, and that's just not acceptable for Rangers fans. And if they lose it today, they would find themselves 9 points behind Celtic, with only 12 points being played for. That is just incredible.
It is. I was also reading you on the BBC Sport website. A back pass from Scales will just have enough legs to reach Schmeichel as Barron pressed from midfield. Carter Vickers about could a league title be lost in the month of August?
You know, it is possible. But then again, Celtic dropped very few points last season, but Celtic at the moment aren't as good as they were last season, so they may not be as dominant.
They dropped 22 points last season. Rangers have already dropped 6. If they were to lose today, they would be dropping 9, as Butland has to clear quickly from the back pass from Giga. It remains 0-0. Hooked forward then by Tierney, brought under control by Hatate on the halfway line, drops back inside the Celtic half in the sunshine, but the flags on top of that Sandy Jardine stand on the far side are getting a right old buffeting, as here is Carter Vickers. His first touch gets it out from underneath his feet, comes over the halfway line. Asgard will close him down. Maeda able to lay it off. Engels chips the ball out towards Balikwisha, the debutant here for Celtic. His ball into the penalty area, headed away by Moore inside the box. Asgard, tall, prods it out this near side. Magoma will play it first time. Carter Vickers though will stab it back inside the Rangers half for Celtic. Here is Tierney, left of the centre circle. Hatate. Celtic now starting to get on the ball more.
Yeah, I mean, eventually every game slows down and calms down a little bit, and a little bit of space develops. Celtic have been waiting for that.
Engels, he spotted the run of Maeda and he tried to wrap a ball in from the right hand side, but there was probably just too much pace on it, and it's curled all the way through and out for a goal kick. And
that is what the expectation, well, I don't know about expectation, but it's what it's been in the recent past, that when the games has slowed down a bit, Celtic's quality in the final third has just shown to a little bit better than Rangers has been. So they've been waiting for that. Brendan Rodgers has no doubt told his players, expect, you know, everything to be thrown at you right at the start. Well, that's harmed the Rangers, and apart from the corners and the long throws, which have been, you know, difficult, there's not been any clear-cut chances for Rangers yet.
I remember back in the day covering Old Firm games, and you'd have 7,000 Celtic fans in the stand away towards our left-hand side, but it is good, isn't it, that they've now gone back to the 5% allocation.
Yeah, I mean, and I would like it to be more. I mean, I go back to the days when you used to be almost half and half for every game, and the noise was electric.
Gassama on the right. That's the voice of Pat Nevin with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app, and it remains goalless. And Gassama, does he win a throw? No, he doesn't. In fact, the assistant referee on the far side, in front of those 2,000 Celtic supporters that have to be inside the stadium 2 hours before kick-off, orders a goal kick, and already that has been taken.
Interesting, that's the first time Gassam's had a little bit of a chance to have a go down that right-hand side there. Had little space so far. Usually plays over on the left. He stuck him over on the right today, and he will want, if possible, to get a one-on-one in Kieran Tierney to see if he can do him.
This is Balikwisha. Now it is with McGregor. Ball played out towards Tierney. Scales. Carter Vickers, right of the centre circle. Brendan Rodgers not happy at all with his Celtic players there.
I know why. He wants it to play much, much quicker and zip it around. Rangers got himself into a shape too easily there for his liking.
Here is Mikey Moore coming forward. Gassama, Barron just took his eye off the ball. It went past him. He just had to take a couple of steps back. He's back on the ball now. There's the Rangers midfielder Conor Barron, signed on a free from Aberdeen. 50 appearances for the club, yet to score. Tavernier This is his 42nd appearance against Celtic, so he's a veteran when it comes to these occasions, James Tavernier. He's been such a key player for them down the years.
He has been, but it would appear that he's not seeing absolutely eye to eye with his manager. He's not been played in all the games. There was some suggestion he was going to leave even before this game. However, he is always a danger when it's set pieces, and we have a set piece just now, a little bit too far out for a shot, I would suggest here. You know, from corners, particularly from free kicks, and obviously penalty kicks as well. He's a real danger as a fullback. He can score like very few of us.
Before today, he's actually only started in 5 of the 10 games for Rangers this season. Good noise inside Ibrox, it remains 0-0. Tavernier to take it. Forward of the centre circle, right-footed, chips it, headed by Suter. Prodded clear by an outstretched right boot by Scales. And the referee's whistle has blown, and that'll be a free kick for Celtic.
Yeah, Suter's a player I'll be aiming for quite a lot. I mean, he's a big strapping lad, as we say here in Scotland, but he's not buckled in any way for me. You know, there's been mistakes. They generally haven't been his mistakes at the back here, but he still stands up for it. He still wants the ball. He still goes and attacks everything. And he's still trying to rouse his teammates around him when others are harder to rouse.
Engels has gone to ground under a challenge from Asgard, former Wigan and Luton Town player. Signed for £3.5 million. They activated a clause in his contract at Kenilworth Road, did Rangers. But he was told by his national manager that he needs to be playing at a certain level after Luton's relegation to League One, which was one of the reasons why he was keen to move on. There was interest from Championship clubs, but he opted for a move north of the border. He's talented, the Norwegian. Only his 5th appearance as Giga. Oh, that didn't run too cleanly for him. It's almost stuck between his legs, and an awkward moment for Rangers on the edge of their penalty area.
He's had 2 already, hasn't he, Giga? I mean, the Rangers fans' hearts must be absolutely in their mouths every time Giga gets the ball. And if you've made such a big mistake as he did against Bruges, 1 or 2 other positional mistakes as well, you can be full of confidence. Well, he's shown that he's not full of confidence in those 2 touches.
Let's get another update in the rugby. Ireland, Spain. Sarah Mulkerrins.
Ireland 12, Spain 0. Amy Lee Costigan dotting down Ireland's 2nd try on the left wing after some strong work from the pack after a maul from a line out. O'Brien though missed the conversion from a tight angle. Ireland 12, Spain 0.
Commentary of that continues on Sports Extra. This is 5 Live. It's 0-0 at Ibrox between Rangers and Celtic. Here is Negron, breaks out towards Ralston, hits it, takes a deflection from the right hand side, loops up, caught by Jack Butland in the Rangers goal.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit of a release for Butland, because he's not had much to do, but he's made a bad pass out from the back. It is worth underlining, he has been one of Rangers, if not Rangers' best player this season, and you don't want that if you're Rangers and it's a goalkeeper.
Kusama flicked on by Hatate, bouncing ball. Diamandi now will just lift it into the air. Homer has got a lot of room to run into, the left back for Rangers on this near side. He stops. You could hear the groans when he did that. Diamandi now plays the ball in. Scales unchallenged to head it away. Diamandi will let the ball bounce, and he wants it out for a throw, and he takes it quickly. And Barron then will give it back towards Diamandi. Gets away from Engels and plays the ball back to Giga. Lets it go across his body. Maeda is quite right to try and put him under pressure, given his ungainly touches so far. And then the decision from referee Don Robertson goes in favour of Celtic, just inside the Celtic half, goalless.
Well, a couple of things. Giga runs with the ball there and ends up giving it away. He overstretches a little bit. He takes Kieran Tierney out. And any Celtic fan, they always go quiet when Kieran Tierney goes down, because they know the problems he's had with injuries over the years. But I think he'll be okay for this one. He's got himself up. He's got a little bit of a roar from the Celtic fans there. But again, Giga, you just want him to play it simple. If you're a Rangers fan, you do the simple things. Don't take any chances.
I was at Old Trafford yesterday. I'm sure Sir Alex Ferguson was. Here we are at Ibrox, and Sir Alex Ferguson has also made the trip. As he sits in the director's box somewhere behind us, Pat.
Yes, and a former centre forward at this club, and also born and brought up very, very, very close to here as well in Govan.
Yeah. So We know where his allegiance lies. As Carter Vickers over the halfway line. Miovski goes with Carter Vickers, but it's a strong run, brings the ball forward on the right. Miovski, though, tracked him every step of the way and got a foot into the challenge. Picked up now by Moore for Rangers. Asgard going ahead of him. Miovski's also making the run through the middle. And Mikey Moore actually holds on to the ball and is applauded for that. Tavernier's forward ball. Barron through the midfield, midway through the Celtic half. Back towards Tavernier over the halfway line. Suter now inside the centre circle. Out towards Magoma. Saw him when he made his debut against Bruges, actually, and although they had a torrid time conceding those 3 first half goals, he does like to get forward, doesn't he, the youngster?
And he did get the assist for the goal. The Rangers did score in that time, which is why I was surprised he didn't put the ball in a minute ago. When he had it on the left hand side, there was space to put it, and he had 2 strikers in there attacking the space, and he turned away. Very surprised at that.
Only his 4th appearance. This, I'm sure, will be the biggest game that he's played in. Certainly not necessarily savoured an atmosphere like this before in his career. 26 appearances in total from Southampton, Brentford, and then that Preston North End loan spell at the end of last season. 14 appearances for the Deepdale club. So still relatively inexperienced. I mean, it is deafening inside Ibrox.
Yeah, I think the Rangers fans are getting a lot of belief here, aren't they? You know, there's a real trepidation walking over to the game today, and I had about 20-minute walk. I was walking with my sister, and she was just looking very, very quiet for an old firm, you know. An hour or two before the game, you expect a little bit more buzz. I think there was such trepidation with those Rangers fans, and when you look at it now, I wouldn't say they believe, they're beginning to hope.
Well, I, like Steve Crossman, also read with great interest that piece by Tom English on the BBC Sport website, the chief sports reporter for BBC Scotland, and the headline, it's more like the infirm than the old firm.
There was a few zingers in that. There were a few zingers, and that was the best of them.
Here is Miovski. You're right, there were a few zingers. And, you know, in it, where people are saying, observers of Rangers, saying that in terms of the ill feeling towards Russell Martin, and I saw footage of the fans' reaction in Belgium in midweek, and the barometer for any manager under pressure I always think is the away support, and they've turned in midweek.
They absolutely did, but understandably. I mean, there's not that many who can lose 6-0 anywhere, and the fans won't turn them at the end of the game. Especially spent a lot of time in Celtic. Rangers fans, they will travel everywhere in big numbers, and they will put a lot of money into that. They expect the reward of at least organisation and good effort.
An equivocal backing, though, for the team inside Ibrox here today. It remains 0-0, 28 minutes played. Tavernier's header. Barron plays it forward. Tavernier's continued his run. Right hand side, crosses the ball in. Miovski was sliding at the near post, turned behind for a corner kick, 0-0.
Well, that's the first time that Tavernier's got forward, and that's what he's really good at. Doesn't always do it to the best of his ability when he's playing against Celtic. On this occasion, when he gets there, the ball's a very good one, near post. Again, Celtic under quite a bit of pressure.
Miovski's proving to be a bit of a nuisance to that Celtic back line. Barron with a corner kick, far side to right. Rangers playing from right to left. In it comes, it's another outswinger. Maeda heads it, drops on the edge of the area. Asgard heads it forward. Engels heads it further away for Celtic. Knocked back then by the head of Magoma. Engels is the one running back in towards his penalty area. Pays the back pass towards Schmeichel. Puts his foot through it right-footed and clears it long. Headed by Giga forward. Nygren, he heads it back to where it came from. And it'll be repelled once more by Giga at the heart of that Rangers defence. Engels comes over the back of the top of Asgard. The referee gives the free kick. And it's a good job as well, because Miovski was thinking, why did you blow your whistle? He wasn't going to get on the end of that ball.
He wasn't going to get in the end of it, but I suspect he would have maybe got a corner of it, because he wasn't going out. Kasper Schmeichel was coming. There was a bit of a worry in the defence there, but, you know, Rangers have got... I mean, obviously I wouldn't have too much to go in a referee in these circumstances. Refereeing is tough at the best of times, but in a game like this, you have to have eyes everywhere, and you get big decisions every 2 minutes. It's done okay so far, the referee.
30 minutes played. Pat Nevin with us on BBC Radio 5 Live. Rangers 0, Celtic 0. Giga, short, Suter, infield, Diamande. And there was a foul from Engels, and Diamande inside the centre circle. We'll leave it for Barron.
Giga miscontrolled again, didn't he? He did. The ball came in. It's a simple ball to his right foot. he miscontrolled it. That's the third time in a row it's come to him simply, and he just miscontrols.
He's on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers. They signed him from Red Star Belgrade last February. As Gassama now on that right-hand side, fires over the cross, strikes the side of the body of Miovski, and he's picked up by Schmeichel. But he's only made, this is his 10th appearance, but Burkina Faso international doesn't look comfortable with the ball at his feet.
No, and I think it's maybe specifically because of the difficulties time. You know, if he goes up and scores with a header on the other end, he'll probably be, hitting 30-yarders and feeling great about himself, but he's not got that confidence just at this moment in time. He's really spooked by it.
Sorry, Pat. Miovski got the ball. Engels caught in possession. Barron. This is Tavernier in the centre circle. For all the hurly-burly, neither side has actually created a proper chance so far in 31 minutes of football. Here is Moore for Rangers. They've doubled up on him. Battles away, keeps it in play. And then Ralston, the right back for Celtic, clears. Suter commits and dives in front of Maeda and gets something with his head. Chiga urged to go forward to Rangers by this vociferous crowd. Here is Diamandi in the midfield, along the ground. Asgard controlled it well, tried to get it out towards Magoma, battling for it. Referee's given a free kick for Rangers, just over 30 yards out, goalless.
Yeah, I think Ralston seems annoyed about that, but I don't think he's got a position to be annoyed. He's on the ground, he's holding the ball between his feet, so the referee is going by the rules and does it right. And now you can hear these Rangers fans. They are loving this now. I mean, there's a lot of good performances out there, and I also think Russell Martin getting this reaction of his players is superb. But also he's put Gassam over on the right hand side and it's stopped Kieran Tierney getting forward. That's made a big difference as well. So wait for it, hold the back page. Well done, Russell Martin.
Tavernier with the free kick then, just over 30 yards out, right footed, chip, Suter is there! Rangers take the lead! He's actually taken a blow as well to the head. He's unable to celebrate, not too sure who got the final touch, but he did enough to cause mayhem in the Celtic defence, and Rangers have got the all-important first goal. Rangers 1, Celtic 0.
Now the way they're celebrating, you wonder if it's maybe even come off a Celtic edge, and Majowski was right in there, but a whole bunch of players were in there as well, and it's just the amount of balls that they put in there in a dangerous, difficult area. Eventually something was going to come. And remember I said to you early on in the game, Ian, Kasper Schmeichel won't come. You put it in that 6-yard line and Kasper Schmeichel will not come. Now Celtic are complaining about it just now. Callum McGregor's having a little bit of a dig there, saying there was a foul in there. There was certainly plenty of comings together, but Schmeichel comes in, and I just wonder if it was maybe Suter at the last touch.
He did ever so well. He got in between the two central defenders, Carter Vickers and Scales. He was caught in the process. Now they're checking for offside. He might have just been offside before Tavernier delivered the free kick. And that blow on the back of the head might all be in vain. Scales, meanwhile, has gone down. So VAR checking for a possible offside.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots going on in there. Do you know what? There certainly is one Rangers player offside. It's whether it's him when he gets a header. And I have to say, if it was a Rangers fan, I'd be a wee bit concerned that, oh, maybe it wasn't.
It's not going to stand pat.
I'm trying to see it. It's very, very hard to call.
I've just had a feed from the VAR, and he was offside, and it's going to play will restart with an indirect free kick, and it will be back to 0-0, and the Suter goal doesn't stand.
Look, that's a massive disappointment for Rangers there. But looking at it in the wider sense, Rangers keep on putting balls in there. They keep on getting into dangerous areas. There's a real physicality about them there. Yes, he's gone half a yard early, but Kasper Schmeichel's not coming for those balls. They know where their weakness is. They just have to keep on doing that, putting the ball into those dangerous areas, and I think opportunities will come again for Rangers.
Meanwhile, for Celtic, we talked about Suter getting a bang on the head. Scales at the minute is having some treatment to, looks like his left, is it his left foot, his left ankle? He's getting strapped up there. So let's get an update in the meantime from the rugby with Sarah Mulkerrins.
2 quick tries from Spain has them back in it. It's 12-12, both built on patient work on the 5-metre line. Claudia Perez and Marietta Roman, the ones to finish it off. Concern too as well for Ireland captain Sam Monaghan. She's off injured after a hefty tackle. It's Ireland 12, Spain 12.
Just before that free kick as well, Gavin Wallace, our producer, was telling me that the Rangers fans were actually singing the name of Nico Raskin. I mean, it is hard to fathom that such a talented player and so important for Rangers last season doesn't even feature in the squad.
It is, but more so before the game, because, you know, why are you playing one of your best players not playing, not involved? Obviously some sort of fallout as well. Midfield's done all right though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Barron's done very, very well. Andy's worked in very well with him. Asgard looks like a new player. He's using his physicality more than he's done many times when I've seen him before. So, you know, if somebody's not playing, fair enough, but what you put in there, if it's working, well, you've made the right decision so far.
Yes, judged on the 90 minutes, I'm sure. 0-0 it remains then after that goal was disallowed. Play back underway. Moore, was he fouled? No, says referee Don Robertson, much to the annoyance and anger of the Rangers supporters. Engels, 50-50, comes in from Moore, back to his feet. Rangers now winning those tackles, much to the crowd delight here at Ibrox, and then Ralston checks Magoma. That will be a free kick. Mind you, it didn't help with Raskin, with his dad saying that Russell Martin had an oversized ego, and Raskin actually named in the Belgian squad for their qualifiers against Liechtenstein and Kazakhstan coming up in the international break.
As you say, we have no shortage of stories before this game and even during it as well, plenty of them. Now, considering the way this game's going and the amount of tackles that have gone in, how many yellow cards have there been? None. If this was a Premier League game in England, how many yellow cards would there have been? It's about 5.
I was just going to say, it would be more than 3, I would think. It'd be certainly a good few. Just lets the game flow, takes it for what it is, an understanding of what's at stake.
And also, you can't go too early in this tie. If you go too early, there's a real, you have to work tightrope as a referee. Don't go too early with yellow cards, because obviously you're setting a very low bar sometimes in an early one. On the other hand, you can lose control of it. So he's done well so far, the referee, but he's kept it lively and he's kept it entertaining, and it's not been dull for a second, has it?
It hasn't. It's always captivating, these type of games. Tavernier with a free kick for Rangers. McGregor clears it up in the air. Diamandi heads it into the box, volleyed away in a central area by Tierney. Magoma able to turn and plays the ball towards Barron. Maeda running. Barron with a back pass. Still in the sunshine here in Glasgow. And cleared by Butland Long. Majowski will give chase. Schmeichel out of his penalty area, clears it downfield. Suter meets it firmly on the full with a header, bounces out of play in front of the main stand, down in front of us, and it'll be on the Celtic right that they have a throw, and then a supporter, as Ralston's about to retrieve it, throws it completely away from him. Now with Nygren. He's hardly seemed to have got into the game at all, has he, for Celtic so far, and he's been such a key player for them since he arrived.
To be honest, you took the words out of my mouth there. The Celtic are going to do well. They'd like to control the midfield. They've not been able to do that, but they like to get the wide players on the ball. You've hardly mentioned Nygren in this game. He's hardly been on the ball, and you know, I'm not blaming Balikwisha as well. This is new stuff for him. He's hardly got one chance, but he's got one now.
And Balikwisha runs forward and plays it towards Nygren, but it goes behind Nygren, and that will run softly out of play for a Rangers throw. Benjamin Nygren, Swedish international, 3 goals in his 6 appearances from his £2 million signing from Nordsjælland, 5-year deal in the summer. Up towards Majowski, just tries to roll away from Scales, but Scales not once but twice heads it forward, and then Hatate takes no chances in the midfield and plays it a long way back towards Schmeichel. 6 minutes to go to half-time. BBC Radio 5 Live. Coming up after this at 2 o'clock, we'll be live at the Amex. Brighton & Hove Albion against Manchester City. Liverpool Arsenal will follow that at 4:30. And the other game at 2 o'clock will be on Sports Extra 2.
Just looking at the way that panned out there. Celtic had the ball at the back, and they're usually so comfortable with the ball at the back. They just gave it away stupidly. Rangers get themselves back in possession, and very quickly they have another throw level with the 18-yard line, and it's a howitzer coming in now.
In it comes from that right hand side. Suter was there, beaten in the air by Scales. That's Forest West Ham on Sports Extra 2 at 2 o'clock. Rangers, Gassama on that right hand side, back towards Tavernier. Tavernier to Barron. Maeda snapping away at the heels. Still it remains 0-0 after that Rangers goal earlier disallowed. Ball hasn't gone out of play just as yet. Celtic have it, and then Barron gets a free kick for Rangers just in from the right touchline. Through the BBC Sounds app, you've got more than a choice of listening now with Sports Extra, or the streams on Sports Extra 2 and 3 through the BBC Sounds app. We'll be going to the rugby after this free kick. In fact, we can go now because Maeda has got a bit of a problem. So Sarah Mulkerrin's watching Ireland-Spain.
Big room for Ireland. It's now Ireland 19, Spain 12. Centre Eve Higgins powering over under the posts after an Ireland scrum on the 5-metre line. That was converted by O'Brien, so it's Ireland 19, Spain 12.
Thank you, Sarah. Commentary on Sports Extra. And not too sure what the problem is with Maeda here, Pat.
Yeah, he seemed to be off the ball. And it's, I mean, he runs so hard all the time, and he is one of those players who will not stop unless there is something wrong.
Yeah, like a human dynamo. I think it was a stray elbow. I've seen it again. A stray elbow's just caught him from Barron in the chin.
Yeah. There are some players. Okay, I'll change that. There are many players who will make more out of a challenge than actually has happened to them. There are some that are precisely the opposite, who will keep on going and keep on going unless they can't continue anymore, and certainly he got one in the face there.
Had a terrific season last season though, didn't he? 33 goals, his best return. Although you think, had he taken that chance against Almaty in Kazakhstan in midweek, they might well be in the Champions League now rather than the Europa League.
I think they definitely would be, because Kairat didn't look as if they were going to score. They were creating very, very little indeed, and it was a 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. I would still argue there was a bobble that didn't help him, but hey ho, that's the chance gone, and that was the big one.
Now Maeda is off the field of play for this free kick. Play resumes. Free kick from the right. Bounces in the penalty area. Bounced away. Came off a Celtic shirt last. Referee Don Robertson now instructs Maeda to come back onto the field of play as Rangers have a corner on that right-hand side. I mean, that's another consideration, Pat. You know, that Almaty is so far east. It's 2,796 miles from Central Europe. It's even further east than China's western border.
It's a monster journey that Celtic have taken there and back, and they've had games, the week before. It's exhausting. It has an effect, and we'll see how that continues to have effect as this game carries on.
They've had a goal disallowed from a set piece already. They've got one now at the corner on that far side, the right. Headed up by McGregor rather than away. Drops now to the edge of the area. Tavernier beaten to it by Engels. Barron, who's been busy in the midfield, will win another throw for Rangers.
I'm just really surprised that Rangers couldn't get anyone at all who's left-footed who can put one in towards the goalkeeper, because when the corners are coming from the right-hand side, they're all coming right down on top of Schmeichel, who doesn't look dominant at all there. From the other side, they've been whipped outwards, away from where the danger is.
In comes the throw from Tavernier. Good firm header away by Carter Vickers, headed back by Barron. Negron looking for a forward ball. Balikwisha will give chase. Butland has come a long way out of his penalty area. Excellent anticipation. And it's a big up and under from Jack Butland, but he must have been midway through the Rangers half when he punted that downfield with his right boot. And it goes all the way through to his opposite number, Kasper Schmeichel, away towards our left, and we're inside the last 90 seconds, 0-0. As Moore wins a throw and wants to take it quickly against Ralston. It's pure endeavour there from the teenager. Here he is once again on the left. Rolls it back. McHomer with the cross. Headed out by McGregor, the Celtic captain. Negron heads it further away. Nobody was there to pick it up though, because everybody was back in that final third for Celtic. Suter, Scottish international on the ground. Might run through towards Miovski. Schmeichel has spotted it. slides and gathers it in.
Just watching Milowski there, he is giving absolutely everything. You know, lost causes are all being chased. You get the feeling he's been told 45, maybe 60 minutes, give us everything and we'll give you a little bit of rest.
The referee's whistle has blown. There was a foul from Balikwisha on the back of Tavernier.
That'll be an interesting to watch. And Balikwisha, he's not had any one-on-ones, or maybe just one-on-one against Tavernier. And I think he knows already that he's got the pace to beat Tavernier. So that time, a little bit of a nudge, Tavernier goes down. But he's just played it well. He's played it intelligently, Tavernier. You know, he's not given any opportunities for his winger to get in the ground and just test him for pace.
Gavin Wallace has just showed me the possession stats.
It must be big for Rangers, surely.
Well, 4 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. I, like you, thought that, and I'm absolutely shocked. Celtic 58%. A lot of that's been in their own half. Diamandi, what a ball that was from the left-hand side. Carter Vickers was alive to the danger to clear it away. I'd have said that Rangers had dominated possession. Well, it feels that way in the first half.
The thing is, their possession's been very, very positive. You know, it's been hammering it in towards the goal. It's been getting it into areas where Celtic are struggling a little bit. So in Celtic's possession, they're right to try and do what they do. They love controlling games. But they're not controlling the forward area so far. Absolutely not, whatever the percentages are.
Suter with a raking ball. Magoma puts pressure on Ralston, turns and rolls it forward. Now Magoma almost all of a sudden has vacated his left back position. Diamandi's got to try and fill in, and does that. Slides, wins the ball away from Nygren, and comes away from the Swedish international over the halfway line, and Magoma is still ahead of him. But there was Nygren running back, and Celtic have got it back in possession. So we're into the 4 minutes of added on time here, and it remains Rangers 0, Celtic 0.
You're talking about statistics then. What's the corner count? Celtic versus Rangers. I think that's a wee bit more telling one. The other statistics you look at are things like, where is the possession? You know, possession with passing yourself, you can have 60% just in your own half, so what? You know, it's where you want good possession. It's much, much harder to get it in the opposition half. Almost that should count double in my mind. But the amount of long throws and corner kicks that Rangers have put into that area, and that is definitely where they look most dangerous.
Clear-cut chances have also been limited. Rangers have had a goal disallowed as Moore swings over a cross, but it was on the left-hand side. It was right-footed, and it was therefore swinging right into the midriff of Kasper Schmeichel. It was out towards that far side. It was Gassama who was closing down Tierney. Tierney might have just got a little bit of a dead leg there. He's just trying to shake it off as it comes out towards Nygren. His forward ball. That was a dive by Engels. That was embarrassing.
I don't think he wanted to make that run into the corner there. Now, your comments before about the trip to Kazakhstan, you're beginning to see wee bits of it already. Nygren was trying to chase after Diamandi before that, couldn't get near him. Just watching McGregor in the midfield there, you know, he's not the youngest anymore, but he's been left behind a little bit in a couple of the sprints, so that it only needs to take a couple of % off you, and it really does show.
Understandable if they're going to be feeling a little bit leggy after the travails of that trek to Kazakhstan, and I'm sure the 6 English clubs who are in the Champions League after that draw was made on Thursday were rather pleased to avoid a trip to Kazakhstan.
But and also on the line, Rangers, although not such a long trip, were playing with 10 men for most of their match, and they were chasing shadows. So I think both teams have got a reason to be tired. At the moment, Celtic look the more so.
We are into the final 60 seconds of the minimum of 4 to be added on. Rangers 0, Celtic 0. The Monday Night Club from 7 tomorrow. Transfer deadline day, of course. That'll end at 7 p.m. BBC Sport website and app will keep you up to date, as will 5 Live throughout the day across all developments. And surely some sort of resolution for Isak and that saga involving Newcastle United and Liverpool. We're at Anfield later on for the 4:30 commentary with John Murray and Dion Dublin, but sandwiched in between that and this will be at the Amex, Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City with Alistair Bruce Ball and Mark Schwarzer.
And some brilliant games ahead, but I wonder if any of them will be played at a faster pace than this first 45 minutes. It's been non-stop, apart from the odd injury.
And indeed there is the half-time whistle. So chances at a premium. And the most interesting noteworthy action was that goal that was disallowed from a Tavernier free kick. Sousa getting in between the two Celtic central defenders, but that goal ruled out when his brave header disallowed just past the half hour. So Rangers 0, Celtic 0 at half time. Steve.
Thank you very much, Ian. We have got a lot to get through before second half in the Old Firm. Rangers 0, Celtic 0. We'll bring it to you, of course, from Ibrox. There's a lot going on. Some really interesting team news. We'll bring you in a second from the Amex ahead of Brighton versus Manchester City. We've reached half-time in the Women's Rugby World Cup game between Ireland and Spain. Sarah Mulkerrins.
Ireland 24, Spain 12. Fast start from Ireland. They were 12-0 up after tries from Dana O'Brien and Amy Lee Costigan. Spain, though, found their groove. They pushed the Irish defence with strong pack work. Tries from Claudia Perez and Marietta Roman pulled them level. Under pressure as well, Ireland lost captain Sam Monaghan to injury after a hefty challenge. But then tries from centre Eve Higgins and winger Anna McGann have given them the bonus point. They need to ensure the win now to make it into the quarter-finals. At the break, Ireland 24, Spain 12.
Manchester City fans have waited a long time to see Rodri back in a starting lineup in the Premier League. They're at Brighton in our 2 o'clock commentary on 5 Live, and that wait is over, Ali Breesball.
Yes, they get to see it this afternoon. Rodri suffered that knee injury almost a year ago against Arsenal at home in the Premier League. Back in central midfield, starting a Premier League game for Manchester City this afternoon. One of 4 changes from the 2-0 defeat against Tottenham last weekend. 2 in the back 4. Ruben Dias and Rico Lewis both dropped to the bench. Mateusz Nunes and Abdulkadir Husinov come in. Bernardo Silva is back in for Ryan Shirky, and James Trafford keeps his place in goal. Ederson's on the bench. Brighton, Fabian Herzler made 11 changes for the League Cup tie at Oxford in midweek. They won it 6-0, but let's go off the Premier League team that lost to Everton last weekend. So 3 changes from that side. Joel Veltman, Jack Hinshelwood, Diego Gomez all make first Premier League starts of the season. Veltman's in at right back for Mats Wiefer. He's not involved at all today. It's Hinshelwood for Ayari in midfield. Yassin Ayari's on the bench, and Diego Gomez in for Matt O'Reilly. Jorginho Ruta is on the bench.
The other 2 o'clock kick-off in the Premier League today sees Nottingham Forest host a West Ham side who are yet to pick up a point this season. That's live in full on Sports Extra 2. Charlie Slater.
Yes, is there a club in greater disarray than West Ham this season? Graham Potter already looks to be on borrowed time. 3 defeats from 3 as skipper Jared Bowen was arguing with the fans after their League Cup exit. Well, he makes 3 changes from the team that got smashed 5-1 by Chelsea. Mateus Fernandes starts, having signed from Southampton on Friday. Kyle Walker-Peters also makes a first league start, and Konstantinos Mavropanos returns to the League 11, all at the expense of Agurd, Tadibo and Wan-Bissaka. Very straightforward for Nuno Espirito Santo on the pitch, perhaps not off it, but on the pitch. One thing hasn't changed. He goes with the same 11 and bench that drew at Crystal Palace last weekend.
Thank you very much, Charlie. So, yeah, you'll get that one in full on Sports Extra 2. Back at the Amex out of Brighton versus Manchester City. Mark Schwartz is alongside Ali for commentary. Afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon.
Do you know, I was convinced I'd be going in here on Erling Haaland, 100th game in the Premier League, his record against the other great strikers after 100 games, but the return of Rodri has sort of kiboshed that. That is massive news for City fans.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think we've seen over the last 12 months or so, or seems like 12 months anyway, that Rodri's been out of the side, that it's really affected them. It does, I don't think it's a coincidence that Manchester City has dropped massively in form since he's not been involved. Having him back, just having him as a presence on that football pitch and knowing what he can do, I think is going to help Manchester City massively.
They've done right waiting so long as well, haven't they? Because we actually saw him very briefly at the back end of last season. I think he started 1 game at the Club World Cup. But if there was ever a player just to make sure he is totally fully right, then it's Rodri.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, when you look at Manchester City and you look at the size of their squad, they have the ability to do that, to make sure, maximise a player's recovery. The Club World Cup obviously was a big event, as we know, but for Manchester City, the bigger picture was making sure the likes of Rodri would be fit for the Premier League and then obviously the Champions League and so on. I think that was always going to be a priority, to make sure that he is back 100% fit come the start of the season.
Looks like Brighton might be losing Buonanotte to Chelsea, albeit obviously he was loaned out last season. Do you think they've got a direct debit by now between those two clubs?
Oh, absolutely. Must be. It has to be first refusal on every single player that signs for Brighton, I think. It seems that way anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. But they've still got Mitoma and they've still got Baleba, and that's what counts for now.
I think so. I mean, look, Baleba in particular, I've been really impressed with him, as have so many other people, and obviously there's a lot of admirers of him. I think it's great that, well, it's not done yet, but it looks like he'll be staying. Only time will tell, but if Brighton were able to keep hold of him in this transfer window, I think they've done really, really well. It's almost like a signing or a major coup, and I think for them to maintain him in their squad at least up until January would be huge.
Thank you very much, Mark. So that is on 5 Live at 2 o'clock. Brighton versus Manchester City. Sports Extra 2 for Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. Then we're all back together at 4:30 for Liverpool versus Arsenal in full from Anfield. We'll look ahead to the Tayside Derby, bit of US Open and the Dutch Grand Prix, all before second half commentary from the Old Firm after the news on 5 Live with Bethan Holmes.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson says parents and carers should make sure their children go to school in the first week of the new term, after new data shows more than half of pupils in England who missed some of it last year became persistently absent later in the year. It's back to school for England, Wales and Northern Ireland this week, although kids in Scotland are already back in the classroom. Elsewhere, a murder investigation is underway after a 25-year-old woman died in a fall from a block of flats in Southampton. Police are searching for a man believed to have been at the scene. The Ministry of Defence says Norway's agreed to purchase at least 5 new British-made ships to boost their navy. The government says the order is worth £10 billion and will support 4,000 jobs across the UK, including 2,000 in Scotland. And police are searching for a man after 2 stabbings in central London, which officers say could be connected. A man was taken to hospital after an attack at Oxford Circus tube station in the early hours of this morning. A similar incident happened at the station early yesterday.
Next week, Matt Chorley is going back.
Great Scott!
Back to Parliament.
Order! As the government fires up the flux capacitor and politics rolls back at 88 miles per hour, we'll be live from Westminster. We'll have the best team of journalists, ex-politicians and spinners to tell you exactly what's going on.
Matt Chorley.
Back Monday from 2 on BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Premier League Sunday
with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
It's 0-0 in the Old Firm. Second half commentary on the way from Ibrox. The F1 season returns today with Oscar Piastri leading McLaren teammate Lando Norris by just 9 points at the top of the drivers' standings. Piastri's on pole for the Dutch Grand Prix ahead of Norris, and then Max Verstappen lights out at 2 o'clock. Rosanna Tennant is there for us. Rosanna, Piastri and Norris know now that it's basically between them, and that's that.
They certainly do. There have been a lot of questions coming into this weekend asking them, is there a bit of a fight between the two of you? A small fight, they were asked yesterday. I think there's a big fight, Crossy. 9 points, as you say, separating them in the standings. And yesterday, it was just 12,000 separating them between pole position. Oscar Piastri managing to be the fastest man on track yesterday. But it's going to be so interesting to see how it all plays out off the start line today.
Norris won in Budapest. We were there on 5 Live just before the break. So I guess the question is, and you guys talk to him all the time, do you think it's more important that he actually had a break when he sounded like a man who needed a break, or that the momentum that will have given him has maybe now transpired?
I think the question of momentum has been asked a lot this weekend, and Lando Norris seems to not really believe in it. I think he's obviously made his own luck in certain places this year. A lot of people thinking he could be 30 points behind Oscar Piastri, some even going as far as to say he could be 60 points behind Oscar Piastri. But we're happy it's 9 points. It makes it even more exciting to watch. I think obviously momentum helps when you're gaining confidence weekend by weekend. We know he he was struggling with the car earlier on in the season. It's come towards him more of late. And I think he had momentum going into qualifying yesterday, so I'm sure he's head scratching a little bit as to why he couldn't take pole position. But who knows? Anything could happen. I know he's behind Piastri on the grid, but we're talking meters, and anything can happen around this Zandvoort circuit, especially when it comes to the weather, Crossy.
Do you know what? I think it's always important as well that we do a story at least beyond what's happening right at the front of the grid. And that feels like Isaac Hadjar today, doesn't it?
Oh, what a result for the young French driver. 4th place, lining up alongside Max Verstappen, who could be his future teammate. He's done so well this year, absolutely outstanding as a rookie. If you remember back to Australia, where he crashed on the formation lap, had to be embraced by Lewis Hamilton's father as he came back into the paddock. He's turned it around, he's put in some stellar results, and really 4th place was an amazing result for him, given on Friday he spent most of the practice sessions in the garage. So really intrigued as to how he can perform today, because he's got some faster cars starting around him, the likes of Max Verstappen alongside, George Russell behind, and of course the Ferraris. I think you can't really rule anyone out for what I'm calling the podium filler position today, P3.
Thank you very much, Rosanna. Coverage of the Dutch Grand Prix then starts at 1:55 on 5 Sports Extra. Race starts at 2. Today has both hundreds finals, both finals of the 100 at Lords. The women's match begins at 2:15. Southern Brave face Northern Superchargers, Henry Moran.
Yes, where the sun is shining after last night's frustration south of the river at the Oval, where we saw the games delayed late into the night for the men's tournament, and eventually the Trent Rockets qualifying by virtue of finishing higher up in the table. It's a lot clearer cut in the women's competition, with qualification secured yesterday by the Northern Superchargers against the London Spirit. That incredible innings, 18-year-old Davina Perrin, 100 off just 42 deliveries, the highest number of runs in a women's 100 game ever. And what can they do today against a Southern Brave side that have played 8 and won 8? It's beautifully poised, intriguing contest, and be really interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah, sun shining and everything set fair in front of what will be a sold-out Lords.
So that one is on Sports Extra 3. That's where it will start on BBC Sounds. Then, Henry, we've got the men's final as well at 6, Oval Invincibles Trent Rockets.
Yeah, and that's again a fixture that just screams real excitement, with the sort of players that'll be on show. Joe Root will be playing. Tom Banton's had a brilliant tournament. Red Ahmed's been outstanding as well for the Rockets. And then you look at that Oval Invincibles side and the power that we've seen from Jordan Cox across the competition, the likes of the Curran brothers as well, Sam Billings. It's going to be a really fascinating contest. The Oval Invincibles are a side that have been outstanding throughout the competition, but the Trent Rockets, well, they'll feel that they've got a little bit of momentum after the frustration of last night. They'll just sense that, right, we've got through that. There's a little bit of freedom for them to come through and see if they can repeat the success they had in 2022. So yeah, 2 really intriguing fixtures ahead of us. Lots of supporters already in, and the queue's building outside Lords.
Thank you very much, Henry. And that men's final will be on 5 Sports Extra. The Old Firm isn't the only derby in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon. We've got the Tayside derby, Dundee United at 2. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, Steve, as far as folk in the city of Discovery are concerned, this is the biggest game of the day in Scotland. Both clubs searching for their first league win of the season. Dundee have won the last 2 derbies. Those were under previous manager Tony Docherty. Now it's former Coventry City and Fleetwood Town boss Stephen Presley who's in charge at Dens Park. He also used to play for Dundee United, who have made the short walk up Tannadice Street for this one. No team bus required for Jim Goodwin's men here. Former Lincoln City midfielder Ethan Hamilton makes his debut for the home side. As for United, they'll be delighted to have Australian striker Zach Sapsford back from an ankle injury.
Third seed Alexander Zverev's wait for a Grand Slam title is going on. He was knocked out at the US Open last night by Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime. It means the round of 16 is now set in New York. Hottest ticket feels like Naomi Osaka versus Coco Gauff. That will be played tomorrow. They've got three US Open titles between them. Carlos Alcaraz hoping to win his second US Open. He'll be in action as well later against Artur Rinderknecht. The 5 Live tennis team will bring you full coverage from Flushing Meadows at 4:30 on Sports Extra 2. Transfer deadline day tomorrow, of course, 7 p.m. There's an iPlayer show from 6. The Monday Night Club will then mop up anything else from 7 o'clock. You'll also be able to watch that on iPlayer. One of the dominoes which may or may not fall is the long-running saga of Johan Wissa from Brentford to Newcastle, which obviously hasn't happened yet, but Wissa has posted this on social media this morning. He said, I've stayed silent for much of the summer, but with just hours remaining of the transfer window, I feel compelled to make it clear I want to leave Brentford. I believe the club are unduly standing in my way, despite a series of fair offers throughout the summer. You can read the rest of his statement on the BBC Sport website, where you can also read Simon Stone's story about Manchester United, who are considering making a move for Aston Villa goalkeeper Emi Martinez. Another transfer story for you as well. We were saying earlier in the day about Adam Eder looking like he's leaving Celtic for Swansea City. Well, it looked like Brendan Rodgers might block that move until they've got a replacement, but Eder not in the squad for the Old Firm this afternoon, and Rodgers confirming just before kick-off that transfer looks like one that will now happen before the deadline tomorrow evening. Right, we're pretty much ready for the second half of the Old Firm then from Ibrox. Rangers 0, Celtic 0, all the Premier League action to follow that, but second half commentary first of all with Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
Thanks, Stephen. Just following up on that, Eder had actually gone down to South Wales on Friday, and then they called him back because they're trying to bring in Dolberg.
Yep.
And when asked yesterday after the game, Alan Sheehan, the Swansea manager, said, well, you'll have to ask Celtic what's happening. So they're clear to get the move done and done.
They are very keen to get it done, but you know, many a slip, twist, mouth and cup. And if you look what's happened down at Chelsea, you know, they're the centre forward that they were just about to sell, and then suddenly another one gets injured, and then they have to block. So every player who thinks they've got a move, they can't relax until the paperwork's done.
No. Yeah, that Nicholas Jackson move to Bayern is the one that Pat's talking about. The deadline 7 o'clock in England, 11 o'clock in Scotland tomorrow. Interesting as the two teams take to the field, the last time that Celtic didn't have a shot in the first half in an SPL game was November 2018 against Ross County.
Wow. I mean, it's quite incredible. I mean, Maeda's been up there running everywhere, but he's had so little support, so little ball. You know, and he'll keep on going, but he needs to get players like Negrin to get close to him. Obviously, you want that from Engels, you want that from Hatate as well, but very, very rarely in this game has he had any help at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if Brendan Rodgers makes some change pretty quickly in the second half.
The referee, Don Robertson, blows his whistle, and we're back underway for the second half of the first Old Firm encounter of this new season, and it is 0-0. And neither side has made a change. Rangers in their royal blue shirts and white shorts, playing from left to right as we look. Have Butland in goal. Tavernier, Suter, Giga and McHomer. You've then got Diamandi and Barron and Asgard. Moore on the left, Gassama on the right, and Mianowski on his debut leading the line. Celtic from right to left have Schmeichel in goal, Ralston, Scales, Carter-Vickers and Tierney as their defence. Hatate, McGregor, Engels, Negrin on the right, Balikwisha on the left and Maeda through the middle. And here is Scales and Kieran Tierney downfield, and then Balikwisha towards Hatate. The little layoff by Maeda for the running Engels, and in fact Engels fouling Diamandi inside the centre circle, and that will be a foul and a free kick in favour of Rangers. Pat Nevin.
And the referee went to go to his pocket there because Engels had held the ball up and then thought to himself, no, calm down, we don't want to start all that stuff so early. But very impressive once again. Rangers started this second half, high press, closing down goalkeeper Schmeichel, managed to not allow Celtic to control the balls out of the back, and I think Majowski, you know, not had any opportunities, but I tell you what, the Rangers fans will be loving what he's given just now. And as I say that, he goes and fouls, trying to see who's Ralston over there on the right hand side. That will not disappoint the Rangers fans either, will it? Close them down, asking questions.
Yet come the final whistle, would they take another draw? Here is Moore coming forward. Moore's shot on the run, right-footed from 25 yards out, always on the rise and out for a goal kick. Rangers have actually lost the first league Old Firm encounter in 7 of the past 9 seasons.
Yeah, and it is a big one, it's a marker, but I mean, classically we know Celtic can afford to lose this one, Rangers can't.
Yeah. Rangers only on 3 occasions have failed to win any of their opening 4 fixtures. So if they were not to win this, a worse start in 36 years would be a worse start in 42 years. However, they're positive and they're coming forward. And Diamandi on that far side, the left. Plays it back to McHomer. Infield to Diamandi. Tries to get away from McGregor. Suter now puts his foot on the ball. Barron out to the left-hand side for McHomer. Head down, runs forward. Ralston backs off him. McHomer delivers the cross behind Miovski and cleared by Tierney. The Celtic left-back was tucked in and defended well.
Had to defend well there, but McHomer earlier on said, why are you not getting the ball in? I think the manager said that precise phrase to him.
McGregor's short diagonal ball. Hatate. Engels goes back. Carter Vickers to the Celtic captain, Callum McGregor. This is his 44th appearance against Celtic's arch rivals. He's won 24 of those previous 43. Here is McGregor. Hatate. Russell Martin clapping, barking out the orders to his players. Tavernier tight behind Balikwisha. Gassama infield to Barron. Engels gives away a free kick. Diamandi. Celtic take it quickly. 4 minutes into the second half. Still under blue skies, a little bit more cloud cover, but the sun continues to shine as McHomer coming forward from left back. Nygren was challenging him. Barron's forward ball. Asgard rolls it out towards Gassama. Gassama's been quite quiet. He's had a good start to his... Well, he actually he started well, and of lately he's had more of a dip in form.
To be honest, I just think he looks a little bit better coming in from the left. He looks more comfortable there. They've had to put him over on the right. Obviously because they'll get Ikey Moore over on that left-hand side. I think he would love a chance, but don't forget one thing: he stopped Kieran Tierney getting forward. That's the big thing. Kieran Tierney is a massive player for Celtic, coming from left back and putting crosses in. Haven't seen that today. Don't think there's been one cross in, maybe one. No more than that from Kieran Tierney.
McGregor, he's given away a free kick. He actually wags his index finger of his left hand in a disapproving way to the referee Don Robertson for that foul that has been given in Rangers' favour for chopping down the legs of Asgard. I can still remember when Tierney was at his first spell for Celtic. Manchester City, great Champions League night at Parkhead, and Tierney and Sterling were at it. It was a great tussle between the two.
Yeah, I do remember that game as well. Must have been doing it together. But watching Tierney just now, it's just the fact that he's not got anyone really to work with. I mean, he works well with Maeda when he's over on the left-hand side. But he's not been able to do that to get Maeda's through the centre, getting very little change. We're talking about left-backs. McHomer, he's been much more productive as a left-back today than Kieran Tierney, and that is high praise. And it's only one game or half a game, but it's high praise.
19-year-old on loan from Brentford, remains 0-0. Pat Nevin is with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also live on the BBC Sounds app. Moore caught in possession by Ralston. His diagonal ball sets away Balikwisha, who's now against Tavernier, twisted in one way and then the next. Moore comes to help him out, and it goes out for a Rangers throw. Here now is Barron, still deep inside his own half in the shadows of the main stand. Triangular passing patterns from Rangers. Giga, Barron, they've given it away. Balikwisha towards Engels. Whether that was overconfidence as Barron then just tries to win the ball back and then concedes a free kick to Celtic, and they take it quickly. Engels to Hatate. Hatate though with a cross caught at the near post by Butland, rolled out by Butland. McHomer's got space to run into on that far side. Just slows down a fraction and accelerates over the halfway line and away from McGregor, midway through the Celtic half. Ball breaks loose. Engels goes to ground, slides it forward. Maeda. Now Balikwisha, and now with Scales, and McGregor wants it to feet and gets it just outside the centre circle of the Celtic half. Pat Nevin.
It's one of the first times in the game that McGregor's got the ball, but he's not in a dangerous area in any way whatsoever. But Asgard gets right beside him the entirety of the game.
Carter Vickers comes forward from defence with the ball. Hatate now takes over. Back then towards McGregor and out towards Engels. Nygren has made the run off the ball. With the deflection it goes out towards Ralston. Ralston's first time cross. Tavernier tucked in, the right back to head it away in the penalty area. This is Miofsky. Just the faintest of touch into the path of Gassama, and Gassama can now run forward, and Miofsky wants it through the middle. Gassama now running, looks to go on the outside of Tierney, succeeds into the penalty area. Gassama fires it over, Scales with a block, and then it bounces up in the air and it's caught by Schmeichel.
Well, that's a 1-on-1, and Gassama's been looking for that for quite some time with Tierney, and it has to be said, he skins Tierney. He goes straight past him there. Tierney on the ground, gets to the byline. Scales, you've got to say it's a good interception in near post, but that interception could have gone absolutely anywhere. It popped straight up into Kasper Schmeichel's hands, but another good piece of play from Rangers there. And Gassama, what a lift that'll give him.
Probably the first opportunity he's actually gone to attack Kieran Tierney, and he beat him as well. Update the Rugby Union, the Women's World Cup. Sarah Mulkerrans.
Ireland 29, Spain 17. Spain are not giving Ireland an easy ride. Their forwards again doing the bulk of the work before pushing it wide to Claudia Pena. Grace Moore, though, she answered back for Ireland. The number 8 found a gap to score at the other end just minutes later. It's Ireland 29, Spain 17.
Thank you, Sarah. Commentary of that continues on Sports Extra, to be followed by the Dutch Grand Prix. Maeda for Celtic wriggles away from the challenge of Diamandi. We're 8 minutes into the second half here at Ibrox on 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app, and it remains 0-0.
So you watch Celtic over the years, particularly since the Ange Postecoglou time and the recent times under Brendan Rodgers. They play at high tempo, they close everybody else down, they give no one else any time at all, and they fight and chase everything. That's a description of Rangers today, isn't it? That's exactly what Rangers have done to Celtic. The question remains, can Rangers keep that up?
Here is Engels. Negrin coming off the right touchline. Hatate's first time ball blocked by Barron. McGregor heads it forward. This is Negrin off his chest and went for a rather ambitious volley, left-footed, and he's hit it well wide. Goal kick, 0-0.
I was quite surprised that Brendan Rodgers hadn't got a number of his substitutes to warm up as soon as half-time was finished. Just go out there and get a warm-up, get ready, because it looks as if changes might be needed. Well, there's 4 out there now, and they've started warming up, and I think Brendan Rodgers is really quite concerned that at the moment they're getting still no opportunities.
They're approaching 6 hours as Celtic since they actually last conceded in the SPL. That was a younger for St Mirren back in May. Carter Vickers to clear this ball for Celtic. Ralston. Rangers supporters are urging Rangers to try and press and close Celtic down on the edge of the penalty area. They're able to play out from the back. Tierney under pressure from Gassama. Referee will give a free kick. And in fact, actually, there was a tangle off the ball earlier between Engels and Diamandi, and referee Don Robertson is calling the pair towards it.
Yeah, and again needs to have eyes in the back of his head. That happened miles off the ball. Both of them ended up on the ground. Yeah, they're grabbing each other. You know, the referee definitely didn't see it, so he's trying to calm it down, say stop that, but no cards out again. It's looking really good just now for Rangers. As I said before, they have to keep it up. The real worrying thing is what a blow to the solar plexus it would be for Rangers if after this amount of play and fighting this well, if they lost a goal now, that would be such a tough one to take.
But for all that they've had and that intent, the only effort they've had is that disallowed goal, haven't they?
It's the only one. I mean, they've put the ball into the box for corners and long throw-ins, but they've not had any corners or long throw-ins that they've been able to use in this second half yet. So obviously Celtic have worked on that and said, right, don't give them away easily, but it's early days yet in the second half.
Mentioned Sir Alex Ferguson is here. Graham Souness is here too, as Maeda barged into the back of Barron, who was caught sleeping. Dispossessed him, but then Rangers have got the ball back and it goes towards Butland, playing it out from the back towards Suter. They've beaten the Celtic press. Suter out towards Magoma, and because Negrin's coming off that right touchline, all of a sudden it creates a bit more space for Magoma to run into as a left back. Infield towards Suter, looking for the run of Miofsky. Scales did just enough to head it away from Miofsky, who'd made that run behind him into the inside right channel, the penalty area, behind for a corner, 0-0.
It's worth underlining what an effect Suter's having in this game just now. He's taking the ball off Rangers goalkeeper Butland, and he is driving forward, and it's creating extra space in the midfield. He's leaving everyone else behind. He's got his head up, he can play long passes as well. He's done it 3 times in this second half already, Suter. It's having a great effect on those Rangers players, but also on the fans as well.
Rangers are attacking the Copland Road stand of the ground here at Ibrox. There is a section behind that goal decked all in black, clapping in unison as in comes the corner kick. Might fall towards Barron. Hooked to safety though on the edge of the penalty area by Engels. We talked before about this is Rangers' worst league start since 1989 when Graham Souness was the manager. They had 2 defeats and a draw back in 1989. In fact, they only had 2 wins from their first 8 games that season, yet they still went on to win the title, a second successive title under Souness, who, like Sir Alex Ferguson, is watching on in the director's box. We're approaching the hour mark. It remains goalless here on BBC Radio 5 Live. At Ibrox, there's only been 1 goalless draw in the league since September 1998 in 44 games.
Yeah, and that wouldn't have been a boring one either. You know, you can have a game that's got few chances, and it's obviously no goals so far as well. And it sounds like it must be a dull game. It's absolutely not a dull game.
Here is Schmeichel. Out towards Ralston. Plays it forward. Balikwisha has made the run. And Giga wasn't taking any chances. Butland had come off his goal line, but Giga puts it out of play for a Celtic throw on this near side, the left.
I don't think they're absolutely in sync at the moment in Giga and Butland. So Giga did the right thing there. You took no chances whatsoever. But that's the first break. It's very noticeable that Balikwisha has been pushed a little bit further forward as a centre forward.
Balikwisha tees it up for Hatate, delivers the cross, but it's too deep. Negrin had come into a central area, it won't go out of play. Kept in play by Ralston. Now with Engels. Back out towards Ralston, level with the Rangers penalty area on the right-hand side, in front of that quadrant that has the 2,000 travelling support. A short journey from the east end of Glasgow. Hatate shoots low along the ground, and Butler makes the save. First shot on target from Celtic in the 60th minute.
Yeah, and that's the first time Celtic have looked like Celtic. They controlled the play, really knew what they were doing, ripped Rangers apart, or pulled them apart a little bit there. They've just not looked like that in this game so far. But a lot of that's down to Rangers not allowing them to do that, because they've just denied them space all over the place.
Asgard's given the ball away. McGregor, that calming influence in the midfield for Celtic. Scales gets it from Carter Vickers. Blue sky has all but disappeared now, as that cloud cover continues to bubble up, but it's starting to turn a little grey. You could suggest is that the storm clouds brewing for Russell Martin if his side were unable to win. Let's get an update in the rugby with Sarah Mulkerrins.
Breathing room for Ireland. They lead 36-17 against Spain. Number 8 Grace Moore has just got her second try of the game, bursting over from 3 metres out, and it was converted by Dana O'Brien. Ireland 36, Spain 17.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. There'll be highlights of this, the Old Firm, and also the Dundee derby. Tayside derby that'll get underway at Dens Park at 2 o'clock on BBC Scotland at 7:15. It remains 0-0. Maeda challenged by Giga, pushing the back by Scales on Majowski. Free kick for Rangers.
Once again, Majowski is so good at putting himself about there. His energy levels have been fantastic. Considering he's just been thrown into this one, he looks as if he's been Rangers centre forward for a couple of years. And he doesn't look out of place in this environment, does he? You know, he looks like, oh no, I'm born for this sort of stuff. And there are lots of players I've seen them frozen when they've come into this. He loves it.
Well, this free kick, with James Tavernier and his deliveries from set pieces.
To be honest, they've not been that great so far from Tavernier. He needs to put one between the goalkeeper and the centre backs. He hasn't done that in the last couple.
Well, it's 8 yards in from the right touch line on this right hand side. In it comes now. It was dropping. Headed out by Tierney. Diamandi now left corner of the penalty area. His cross is headed out easily by Carter Vickers. Headed back by Barron. Bouncing ball. Headed away by Scales. Lifted back in. Miowski tried to tee up Asgard. And in the end, it was Ralston who's conceded the corner kick for Rangers, 0-0.
Looked like a little half a chance there. Miowski could have maybe had a little bit of a dig at himself. It was coming over the shoulder. It would have had to be something very, very special. Tried to lay up his teammate, but didn't quite happen. Again, Miowski keeps on going into the right areas.
62 minutes as well. Didn't necessarily have a happy time during his spell at Girona, but he has caused a problem or two for that Celtic defence. Corner kick then on the far side. Tavernier to take it on that left. In it comes now. It's an in-swinger and it's straight down the throat of Kasper Schmeichel.
It's the last thing you want to do. Give Kasper Schmeichel a very, very easy one, and that was far, far too simple.
Now here is Engels. Nygren takes it with a nice touch on the outside of his left boot. Challenge comes in from Mikey Moore, and he's adjudged to have fouled Nygren. The referee's got his yellow card out here. Moore saying he went for the ball, but Don Robertson is calling the teenager towards him, and he is shown yellow.
Yeah,
that's the first yellow, isn't it?
Yes, which is, and I noted the surprise in your voice. And it's no, to be honest, you have to allow this game to flow in a certain way, but you know, there are certain technical fouls where I don't think the referee's got an option there, and he felt that Celtic were getting away there, and that was a tackle from the back. Didn't get the ball from the referee's angle, and he was very close to it. So first yellow card, and a dangerous position for this free kick, which is going to be put into the left foot here.
Celtic are going to be making a change. Shin Yamada is going to be coming on very, very soon, and James Forrest is going to be a double change for Celtic. Talk about Callum McGregor and his longevity for Celtic. James Forrest as well, but meantime, Nygren with a free kick. Carter Vickers heads it out, edge of the area, back towards McGregor, strikes it. Hook goal was with acrobatic effort from Kieran Tierney, actually, straight to Butland. Butland now with a clearance. Miovski, the ever-willing runner, and Schmeichel's come out of his penalty area, and Ralston was the one backpedaling and didn't see him, and he got there first, the defender, to head it away. Schmeichel actually had a swipe at it.
I mean, brilliantly, Kasper Schmeichel saying, I was shouting, why didn't you hear me? I'll give you a hint, Kasper. There's a hell of a lot of people in here making a hell of a lot of noise. That was the wrong decision by the goalkeeper there, but just about got away with it. So Celtic will have the opportunity to make those changes, and James Forrest has been here so many times, and it's maybe no surprise whatsoever that he's coming on.
So Balikwisha comes off, James Forrest comes on. 34 years of age now for James Forrest. Made his debut in 2010, so this is his 17th season in the first 11. And I think it was Engels, wasn't it, who went off for Shin Yamada. A £1.5 million signing from Kawasaki. Only his 5th appearance for the 25-year-old. Once again tapping into that Japanese market. So Kawasaki has gone into Yamada from Kawasaki has gone into a central area, and Maeda has now gone out to the left as Forrest is on the right for Celtic.
Yeah, and you think that could work a little bit better for Celtic now. Little bits of gaps opening up now, and Maeda maybe a little bit more space. And over the years, he's made life very, very difficult for Tavernier on more than one occasion. And I think in this left-hand side, when Celtic have got Tierney and Maeda together, they do or can work well together.
Celtic with Ralston over the halfway line. Forrest far side, infield to Hatate. Hatate's ball, there was no width whatsoever on this near side, the left, and it goes straight through towards Butland. Yeah. Does the lack of chances for either side surprise you? And what would you say about the quality of the football that we're watching?
That is the correct answer, and that is the problem. A player who, even amongst the hurly-burly, get the ball to his feet, get his head up and make a really good clean pass and a through pass and have the vision to do that. Certainly Celtic would have had that with Jota, who's now injured at the moment, and in times gone past Rangers, that has been the biggest problem. Hadji was doing it a little bit last season, there have been one or two, but the real quality, the top quality to do that and see those balls cost a lot of money, and neither of those teams really have been able to spend that money of late, and that's the weakness in both.
The voice of Pat Nevin on 5 Live. We're approaching the midway point of the second half. That was Diamande, who's just been booked for catching Nygren. So it's the second yellow card now, both to Rangers from referee Don Robertson. Brighton and Hove Albion and Manchester City coming up after this at 2 o'clock. Commentary from the Amex. We'll get the team news when we can. Nottingham Forest West Ham also at 2 will be live on Sports Extra 2. Liverpool Arsenal will follow at 4:30. Still bright conditions, although we do have high grey cloud above Ibrox. Tavernier can't cut out the ball that was arcing its way slowly out towards Maeda. Plays it towards Tierney. Forward ball. Negron with his back to goal. Remember, Celtic are playing from right to left. Hatate goes to ground, gets back to his feet, does well actually under pressure. Diamandi closes him down, and then again a miscommunication between Giga and Butland. Butland's going to pick that up, and then Giga just follows it out for a throw.
You're talking about it all the way through it. He is so worried every time he gets the ball. Celtic looking for a penalty there, they're not going to get it, but I mentioned right at the start that Giga, it's been a tough time for him the last few weeks. He looks nervy, he looks uncertain, he looks uncomfortable with the ball at his feet, but it's so difficult to know if that's just because he's having a tough time just now, or that's how he plays. Just a stopper, for you don't really want the ball at your feet under pressure.
Rodri starts for Manchester City. We gave you the team news at half-time. That's me busy enjoying that Scottish pie, Pat, that I had taken my headphones off. It's part of the contract whenever I venture to this part of the world that you've got to have a Scottish pie at the break.
Just the one?
Well, just the one for me, Pat.
It would have been 5 if you'd have got them, but we didn't.
Asgard back with Tavernier. Tavernier along the ground. Miovski beaten to it. Just stepping forward there was Carter Vickers. McGregor into the centre circle. Ralston, though, because of Mikey Moore's presence, has to go back. There are certain players where you feel almost compelled to say the surname and the Christian name, and Mikey Moore is one of those players.
Well, it sounds nice. Very nicely alliterative.
Here is Schmeichel. Let's get an update from the rugby. Sarah Mulkerrins.
Spain are not giving up. It's Ireland 36, Spain 22. Their captain Lourdes Almeida powering over at the bottom of the pack. Not awarded initially by the referee, but it was given on TMO review. It's Ireland 36, Spain 22.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. There is activity, I think, on the Rangers bench down below. Russell Martin thinking of making a change. Hatate. Tight behind him was Barron. Dessers and Antman are the two who are going to be coming on as Celtic get a free kick.
I thought they might bring Dessers on purely because Miovski's put himself about so much, but they will be changed by him not being on, because he has chased everything, he has been a pinpoint, he's made sure that Celtic don't break out easily, but surely he hasn't got 90 minutes in his legs. Not at that pace.
Celtic have got a corner kick. They didn't have a shot on target until an hour mark, but they're just starting to create more of a threat.
Yeah, the space is opening up. Rangers haven't been able to keep that pace up just as much as they did in the first half.
Negron to take the corner on the left-hand side. In it goes. Moore heads it away, edge of the area. Hatate there. Suter just volleys it, clatters it away downfield. And everybody runs. And there's going to be a Celtic change as well. But it's going to be one of their new signings, Marcelo Sorachi, who they brought in on loan from Boca Juniors, Uruguayan left back. I know a lot has been talked about the lack of transfers prior to when they were in the Champions League. They've made 2 since their exit. Forest forward ball, and trying to get on the end of it was Yamada.
Well, we talked earlier on about, or a few moments ago, about Celtic lacking that creativity, being able to play that pass. Well, Forrest is on now, and he can do that. He has definitely got that in his locker.
Butland closed down by Yamada. Brendan Rodgers wants to take the throw quickly, and then in fact he'll say no, he'll slow it down, because now we'll see Marcelo Sorachi. He's 27 years of age. He has had spells in Europe. He's had spells with Galatasaray and Leipzig. It's going to be like for like, because Kieran Tierney is the player who's coming off. So Sorachi is on, and then Dessers and Antman who are going to be, and Miovski's going to be going off. So Bojan Miovski is replaced by Cyril Dessers. 2 goals in 10 against Celtic is his record, and then Antman comes on.
I think it was Mikey Moore that come off from there.
Yeah, so the youngest starter in an Old Firm game at 18 years and 20 days, Mikey Moore by Oliver Antman. The Finnish international who really did impress on his debut against Victoria Pilsen, hasn't necessarily replicated those levels since. It's only his 7th appearance, however, for the club here this afternoon. 0-0 it remains. Diamandi tries to ship it forward. Dessers will give chase. Carter Vickers sees it back. Schmeichel plays it out wide. Ralston under pressure from Ant-Man. Talk about Ant-Man. I think they've been filming Spider-Man, haven't they, in Glasgow recently?
Yep. A lot of American movies here. And at the moment, it's interesting because Dessers has come on as centre forward, and he's not quite as good, or not as fast, breaking in behind. He's a good goal scorer. He's a natural finisher when he gets chances, but Rangers will have to adapt to play a little bit.
Asgard with a nice turn, shot charged down. Schmeichel, desperate attempt to keep the ball in play, succeeds, hammers it high in the air. Russell Martin could do with being Superman to try and stave off his critics.
I'll tell you what, I think he's done a good job here today. Against Celtic, okay, Celtic haven't been at their best for the last part of it, and certainly they'll be a tired team as well. But the lift that Russell Martin had to get out of his team, forget about the talent, the quality, it's the fight and the battle that just didn't seem to be there. Well, it's been there in bucketfuls today, so well done them. And every Rangers fan I know would be delighted about it, and there is hope, because you didn't have much hope before then. My favourite people in the world, Ken, is a great Rangers man, unable to be here, but he would love to have watched this.
They've actually drawn their past 4 league games of Rangers. It would only be a 4th occasion that they've had 5 successive draws. 1976, 1984, 2015, and then if nothing happens in the next 16 minutes, here again in 2025. Baram is going to be coming on for Rangers.
I think the players, the managers want them to play as high a tempo as possible. That's clear. When we come out for the second half, Russell Martin had clearly said to his team, you must start the same tempo game in the second half, and they kept it up for about 10, maybe 15 minutes or so, and then they got a little bit tired. But that is demanded of them from both managers there. So this little break they're getting just now, the players will be absolutely loving it. They really need it.
So Asgard, he's coming off after getting some treatment. So that wasn't Asgard is going to be coming off. And coming on is Nedim Barami, the Albanian international, who is... the deadline closes at 11 o'clock. He has been expected to leave the club, hasn't he? Barami, just the 1 goal he scored this season against Alloa in the League Cup. So Barami is on and Asgard is off, and we have 15 minutes of normal time remaining. 0-0.
Yep, 0-0, and you get the feeling that if you got 1 goal in the next few minutes, it may not be the last. It looks to have very few opportunities, but with the game opening up now, with the number of tired players out there now, but on the other hand, would Rangers, you asked the question before, Rangers need to win this game, and they do to some degree, but they can walk away with their heads held high if they actually manage to get a point out of this, but in reality it's not enough.
Be interested to see the reaction towards Russell Martin as Ant-Man is stopped in his tracks, making a darting run off the left touchline in the Celtic midfield. That looked like a foul from Suter all over Yamada. That'll be a free kick then to Celtic.
It's one of those good fouls in the halfway line and stop everything going any further and not even getting a yellow card.
Nygren picks it up, space to shoot, does shoot, dipping effort, left-footed, dropping over the top of the crossbar, and Jack Butland happy to see that go behind for a goal kick, all in orange with 13.5 minutes remaining. Rangers 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, it was quite a way out there. It must have been nearly 30 yards out, and Butland at no point looked concerned. We're talking about, the fact that he can listen to the background when he gets the ball, try to play it out for the back. I don't know why the goalkeeper gives it to him when he could give it to Suter, who looks really comfortable on the ball.
Dessers adjudged to have fouled Carter Vickers towards the corner flag over on that far side as they ran towards the Copeland stand away towards our right, playing out from the back. Scales up now towards Yamada, drops off, tries to glance and direct a header towards Negron. Fell in between Negron and Forrest, and McHomer was the one trying to come forward, and he still pursues the ball back towards Schmeichel, and Schmeichel, because of his presence, was a hurried clearance, and McHomer continues to chase after Scales. Caught him a little late as well. Crowd love to see that from the teenager. The exuberance of youth, eh?
Yeah, but he's spotted it already as well. Gasper doesn't really want to be pressured on the ball. He's not absolutely at his very best when the ball's at his feet. I mean, he is just a world-class shot stopper. We all know that. He's got that capability, but just need to put him under a bit of pressure if you're Rangers.
Here is Negron just outside the centre circle. Played forward by Sirachi. Now it's with Maeda. Negron tried to thread a ball through, blocked by the knees of Barron, 30 yards out from goal. Sirachi with a cross from the left-hand side. Forrest controls it, backing into his man, Ant-Man, and then eventually McHomer. His clearance only as far as McGregor. McGregor to Forrest. Forrest, right-hand side of the penalty area, challenged by Diamandi. The referee, I like that from the referee. He's looked for his assistant. He didn't want to make it. He didn't want to make the call. Good teamwork from the officials, and a goal kick is awarded.
You like it. I don't think the assistant referee liked it very much. He was being asked to make the call against Celtic, and he's right in front of all those Celtic fans there. But he was brave enough. He made the call that he thought was right, and it's a goal kick. You notice that Rangers playing for the back, the goal kicks out. They funnel everything towards Jiga, don't they? They want him on the ball playing it out for the back. This time, he was able to play it out without any trouble.
We'll bring you the reaction to this game in between the football, the live football, wall-to-wall live football on BBC Radio 5 Live this Sunday afternoon, as it is every weekend on BBC Radio 5 Live. And the ironic cheers because Diamandi has been given a free kick midway through the Rangers half. Just over 10 minutes to go, 0-0.
Do you know one of the things that over the years of watching this game, and it used to be almost all the Scottish players, and then it was a period with some English players, etc. Look at all the different nationalities in this pitch. But they all get it, don't they? They all understand what it means, and they're all buying into the fact that you need to give every ounce of energy in this game. You have to make every tackle, and it's good to see that.
Diamandi skips away from one challenge. Picked up now though by Negron. Maeda's gone central, and that creates the width for Sirachi to come forward. Talk about the League of Nations. Just commentated on a Japanese player, a Swede, and a Uruguayan. As the Uruguayan had his legs chopped in Sirachi, and Celtic get a free kick. Might be a little level of apprehension inside Ibrox for the Rangers supporters now with 10 minutes to go, 0-0.
Yeah, it has slowly but surely changed now. We're spending so much more time watching Celtic and the opposition half. Beforehand, it really did seem not exactly one-way traffic, but Rangers were on top. They were creating all the dangerous situations. Whereas now, as a little bit of space opens, maybe the argument could be with Celtic's a little bit more quality on the ball. They'll be able to use that well. And look at someone like Callum McGregor. He's now loving this. He's now thinking to himself, I need to get a little bit of control of this game.
Barron is down, is getting treatment. There's a stoppage in play. 0-0 it remains. We'll get an update in the Rugby Union. Sarah Mulkerrins.
Ireland 43, Spain 22. Anna McGann ran in Ireland's 7th try, her 2nd of the day. She fended off Spanish defence out on the right wing to dot it down. 8 minutes left to go. Ireland 43, Spain 22.
There's going to be a double change here for Rangers, and he's unable to continue as Conor Barron. So Joe Rothwell, who was signed from Leeds United in the summer, is going to come on for these last 9 minutes of normal time. Conor Barron has been busy and industrious in the midfield, and then it is going to be Gassama is also going to be coming off as Findlay Curtis, the 18-year-old who signed an extension to his deal in January, come up through the academy. The 18-year-old coming on for just his 13th appearance for Rangers, and he is a solitary figure that will stand in front of this free kick. We're having a discussion on the Commentators View podcast whether one in a wall could be described as a wall, but it is Curtis in there, and Negron with the ball in, drops to the edge of the area. Rothwell is able to dig it out and clear, but there's nobody there in a blue shirt to pick it up. Sirachi now in the centre circle, unchallenged, will run forward. We've got 8 minutes remaining. It remains 0-0. 5 Live Sport also available on the BBC Sounds app. Commentaries to come from the Amex in Anfield still this afternoon.
Celtic have got a problem now. I'm watching Carter Vickers. And whether it's a hamstring, I think it's probably just cramp. And he stopped there and he slowed down. He has to be careful.
Forward ball from Forrest, too far ahead, too much pace on it, away from Negron, out for a goal kick. I will be intrigued to hear the reaction if it is just a draw at the end by the Rangers supporters.
Yeah, I think it'd be very harsh on them to have a dig at their team because of the effort that they put in. Celtic fans, they will celebrate a draw. They have to, because it keeps them so far ahead. Having said that, Hearts will have something to say about that, as they are at the top of the league at the moment.
Yes, they are, beating Livingston yesterday. Meanwhile, Rangers are attacking. Cross from Barami, behind for a corner kick. Listen to the roar inside Ibrox. Rangers still harbour hopes, their supporters, with 7 minutes remaining. Playing from left to right, 0-0 it remains. And Tavernier just stops to get some instructions across before jogging across towards that far side.
It's all about the delivery, the quality of the delivery. It's been a wee bit up and down from Tavernier.
Attacking the Copeland stand towards our right. Tavernier on the far side, the left. Celtic have everybody back bar Forrest. In it comes. It's an in-swinger. Scales did well, and the pressure to head it away. Back out towards Tavernier. Takes a deflection on its way through. Maeda volleys it inside his own penalty area. And there are two giving chase, Forrest and Yamada. Forrest heads it first. Yamada might get there, but Diamandi did well, saw the danger, and his header back towards Butland snuffed it out.
And Yamada showed that he's got a lot of pace there. He was he was running against Diamandi, who's played a lot more football this afternoon and might be a little bit tired. The referee has to stop play now. Butland's gone down injured.
Now Rangers are complaining that Maeda, who went to close down Jack Butland, had maybe just left a challenge in there on the England international. So he's on his knees, all in orange, in the penalty area away towards our left-hand side.
The referee's not going near Maeda, is he? He's walked past him. Not interested.
Celtic are going to be making a change as well. Luke McCowan. I remember listening to you on the opening day. He popped up with a late goal, didn't he, against St Mirren?
He did. And McCowan, he has been good. Again, he understands this. He'll get this game just now. And he'll add a little bit of energy into that midfield of Celtics right just now. I mean, the other player we haven't talked about has come on too much is Curtis. I watched him coming on against, I think it was St Mirren for Rangers. He was magnificent, absolutely magnificent, the kid.
Curtis was the target for Butland, who's able to continue. That was a blatant push in the back by Ralston. Rangers have got a free kick on this near side, the right, just in from the touchline, not quite level with the penalty area. Luke McCowan's record against Rangers, incidentally, for Dundee and Celtic: 1 win, drawn 1 and lost 9.
Wow. Well, I don't think they were always Celtic though.
Yeah, no.
He was against Curtis there. It's the first involvement he's had there, and he's up against the new fullback there. And Sirachi has to be asked the question. So I asked him a question there, gave away a free kick, and the kid, well, he looks fearless.
Tavernier then with his free kick. Celtic will hold off making the substitution for the time being. Tavernier plays it in, and it was met by Hatate, and it was a firm header behind for a corner kick. Less than 5 minutes remaining. It remains 0-0. Hasn't been a goalless draw at Ibrox between these two since 2011. Tavernier waits. There should be an outswinging corner on this near side, the right. In it comes now, clipped in towards the near post, headed away by McGregor. Back towards Tavernier, lets it settle, plays it back in again. Maeda heads it away, played forward, and then Yamada will clear, and Forrest tries to get away from Rothwell, but Rothwell was blocking him, and Magoma was there to see it back towards Butland. It's almost as if Rangers have got a second wind in these later stages.
Yeah, last few minutes, I mean, the changes will make a difference. They're hitting the ball out to Curtis time and time again here. He's playing the right wing, and he's a youngster, but he is not lacking in confidence.
Tries to play it forward, helped out by Barami. Sirachi was knocked to the floor. Here is Curtis, takes it to the penalty area, goes to ground far too easily, under no challenge whatsoever from Maeda. That was a firm challenge, however, from Rothwell on Sirachi. That was a firm one by Rothwell. Meanwhile, it was Giga, who I think is going to get shown a yellow card for a foul on Yamada on this near side.
It is incredible watching that little run of play there. There were 4 crunching tackles in a row. and it took the fourth one for the referee to blow his whistle and eventually reach for his card. That Giga has stayed down there. A little bit of cramp, I'm guessing. Yeah, a bit of cramp.
So Giga currently sitting down. It wasn't a penalty either, was it? I mean, I don't even think VAR have bothered to check it.
No, you wouldn't do it. I mean, you'll have a look at it, but that was just not even close to it, I would argue. And if he got that right, they've got most things right. I'm sure Rangers fans and Celtic fans will disagree completely, but actually the referee's had a very decent game so far.
Luke McCowan's going to come on for Hatate in the midfield. Gets a handshake from his manager Brendan Rodgers. We're about 10 minutes away from our next commentary on BBC Radio 5 Live at the Amex. Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City, where Rodri starts for Pep Guardiola's side. Commentary of Nottingham Forest West Ham United will be on Sports Extra 2. And the Dutch Grand Prix will be on Sports Extra from 5 to 2. A choice of listening on another busy weekend of live sport.
Just a little moment there, the referee gets both captains over, has a word with them. And how nice is that now that you don't get surrounded by 8, 9, 10 players shouting and bawling at the referee. Everybody knows now, you do that, you could be in trouble.
Schmeichel is going to venture forward to take this free kick. Right-footed, down towards Maeda. Tavernier heads it away. Maeda fell to the floor, quickly back. Celtic lose out. That's on this near side. Barami wins the challenge, looks for the run of Dessers. Scales will have time to see it back towards Schmeichel. Ooh, Schmeichel's ball almost showed too much towards Dessers, but he did find Scales, but it wasn't that far away. We're talking centimetres.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to say, yeah, I had it in control all the time, but that was far too close for comfort there. And as I say, Kasper Schmeichel, many strengths to his game. Ball at his feet, absolutely not the top.
Rangers unbeaten in their last 3 against Celtic. Their best run since a run of 7 undefeated between 2019 and 2021. Rothwell, Barami, passed the ball forward to Curtis. Curtis wasn't, he wanted it to feet.
To be honest, it's a classic one. If you're a wide player, if you want to get the ball to feet, you go along and come back. Simple move, you always get the ball. So he did that. Probably his mate thought he was going long, so he came back and the ball had gone. Again, wanting to go on the ball. Rothwell makes a difference because he's very comfortable on the ball. If Rangers can get him on the ball in the midfield there, he might make a difference. That's a good pass there. Slowed it down and allowed that situation to develop.
High octane as ever, but not a great deal of quality. I mean, in terms of the chances, and forgive me, Pat, if I've missed this, but the disallowed goal for Rangers in the first half, and then Hatate's first shot on target for Celtic after an hour, unless I've missed something.
No, very little. There's not a huge amount to remember, other than just the, as we say up here, the stramashes in the middle when the ball is fired in there from corner kicks and from long throw-ins in the first half from Rangers. There was a good few of them, but nothing, as you say, clear-cut.
It remains 0-0, and we're into 3 minutes of added time here at Ibrox as the blue sky has reappeared, as has the sun. McHomer forward ball for Rangers, met by the head of Scales. Diamandi tries to get away from Negron, chips it forward. Scales, though, as Dessert has made the run in behind with a cushion header to Carter Vickers, to Schmeichel, puts his foot through that. And Schmeichel's clearance out towards Maeda, loses out to Tavernier. Tavernier back in the side at right back. Aarons has had a difficult start to his career at Rangers, the former England under-21 international. The Scales downward header. Sarachi gets there before Barami. Headed on, tied it up at the back by Tavernier to Butland. Maeda will run towards him. Butland, left-footed, clears downfield. 2 minutes of time remaining. Scales with a header. Runs out towards Curtis, keeps the ball in play. Curtis now has Barami in support. Passes the ball towards Rothwell. Turns. Rothwell, midway through the Celtic half. Out towards Bagoma. Blue shirt rippling in the wind. Easily with interception before it could reach Ant-Man by Ralston. Ant-Man was a little slow to react there, really. And now it's with McGregor. McGregor was certainly slow, dispossessed by Dessers. Here is Barami, but McGregor recovers well and gets a challenge in. Loose ball picked up. Diamandi with the cross, headed away by Carter Vickers. We've got about 70 seconds remaining.
I don't think I can ever remember McGregor giving the ball away like that. Just fell asleep, caught from behind. Having said that, his reaction to win the ball back was brilliant.
And Rangers go back, much to the disapproval of some of their supporters, as Butland's ball is easily headed forward by Carter Vickers, and Giga will head it back towards Butland. By my watch, we're inside the last 60 seconds of the minimum of 3 to be added on. It remains Rangers 0, Celtic 0 on 5 Live. Butland goes long, Dessers light leaps in the air, beaten though by Carter Vickers, who didn't climb off the ground. McHomer with a back pass to Sousa, forward ball, short towards Rothwell, still urged on. Rothwell lays it out towards Tavernier. Right to the centre circle over the halfway line, looks for Curtis. Sirach heads it under pressure. Cleared then further by McGregor, only as far as Tavernier. Rangers are going to leave it late if they are to score a goal with 20 seconds remaining, and that ain't going to happen either, as the ball runs harmlessly through towards Kasper Schmeichel.
There are some games where there's this tense, but you think, yeah, but there is a chance. There is something going to happen. There's an opportunity going to happen. Hasn't felt like that in the second half.
Well, there is the final whistle, and on that final whistle there were a few boos. Russell Martin said pre-match, ignore the noise. There's also, though, a level of applause as well to appreciate the hard work from the Rangers players. But we're talking of a first goalless draw stalemate here at Ibrox in 14 years between Rangers and Celtic. Pat Nevin.
If Rangers work that hard for the rest of the season, they'll be okay, as in they'll be second place in the league or first place, but more likely second place in the league. Celtic, I think they've got a lot of improving to do, but the fact that they've been below the best, a long way below the best, but still can come to Ibrox and manage to get a draw, both of the managers will walk away, and for whatever they say, I think deep inside they both accept it, they'll both take it. It's not what they necessarily will say, because you need to say what the fans want to hear, and the Rangers fans want to hear we needed 3 points today, and that's what they demanded. But that sort of energy, that sort of performance against your biggest rivals, and not be second best, I think Russell Martin, for one of the few times this season, can say I'm happy with that.
Well, Celtic's winning run comes to an end. They are still unbeaten, and they are yet to concede in the SPL this season. Rangers 4 successive draws. It is their worst start to a league season in 42 years. It's finished at Ibrox. Rangers 0, Celtic 0.